Remember when you could buy a coffee and a pastry for less than $10? Yeah, me neither. But our parents probably do, and their parents definitely do. What the heck happened? That, my friends, is the magic, or rather, the misery of inflation. It's like that friend who eats all your snacks, but acts like they did you a favor. It sneaks up on you, slowly but surely emptying your wallet without you even realizing it. One day you're happily buying a gallon of milk, and the next you're considering selling your car for a pint. We've all been there, staring in disbelief at the price of, well, everything. It's enough to make you want to crawl back into bed and hide under the covers. But fear not, dear reader. This isn't a doom and gloom session, it's a call to arms. Because once we understand this sneaky thief called inflation, we can start fighting back. We can learn how to protect our hard-earned cash and maybe even come out on top. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to dive deep into the wild world of inflation. Inflation. It sounds like a medical condition, doesn't it? Like something your weird aunt might diagnose you with after reading your tea leaves. Oh, honey, you've got a bad case of the inflations. But trust me, it's way more common and less fun than that. In a nutshell, inflation is when prices go up over time. Not just for one thing, mind you, but for pretty much everything. That cup of coffee you love? More expensive. That new phone you've been eyeing? You guessed it, pricier. It's like everyone got together and decided to charge you more for the same old stuff. Rude, right? And the worst part is, you can't even complain to anyone. There's no single villain twirling their mustache and driving up prices. Although, if we ever find them, it's more like a complex web of economic factors all doing their thing. And the result is your wallet feeling a whole lot lighter. But here's the kicker. Inflation is often called a hidden tax. Why? Because even though you're not handing over cash directly to the government, they benefit from it. As prices go up, so do their tax revenues. Sneaky, huh? Let's talk about coffee, shall we? That magical elixir that keeps us going through late-night work sessions and early morning meetings. Remember when a decent cup of joe cost a couple of bucks? Now ordering a latte feels like taking out a small loan. And don't even get me started on groceries. Remember those good old days when you could fill your shopping cart for a week's worth of meals without emptying your bank account? Now it's like playing a game of how much can I afford to eat this week? Spoiler alert. It's usually not enough, but it's not just the essentials that are getting pricier. Remember that time you finally decided to treat yourself to that new gadget you've been wanting? You know, the one you diligently saved up for? Well, guess what? By the time you finally had enough, the price had magically increased, and now you're back to square one. Thanks, inflation. You're a real pal. It's enough to make you want to scream into the void, or at least into a pillow, so you don't alarm the neighbors. But before you do, let's take a deep breath and try to understand the method behind this madness. So, what exactly causes inflation? It's like asking what causes a traffic jam. There are a lot of contributing factors, and sometimes it's just a perfect storm of bad luck. One major culprit is something called demand pull inflation. It's pretty simple, really. When everyone wants the same thing, think new iPhones, concert tickets, or, basic necessities like food and fuel, the price goes up. It's like that one friend who always wants what you have, even if they didn't want it before. Then there's cost push inflation, which is a fancy way of saying that things get more expensive to produce. Maybe the cost of raw materials goes up, or maybe there's a shortage of something important. Whatever the reason, those increased costs get passed down to you, the consumer, in the form of higher prices. And let's not forget about government policies. Sometimes governments print more money to stimulate the economy or pay off debts. But like that friend who keeps borrowing money and never pays you back, this can lead to inflation. Why? Because the more money there is in circulation, the less each individual dollar is worth. The shrinking dollar. When your money buys less. Here's a fun fact that's not so fun. Inflation is like a slow and steady erosion of your purchasing power. Remember that $20 bill you found in your coat pocket last week? You were ecstatic, right? Well, because of inflation, that $20 doesn't buy you nearly as much as it did a few years ago. Think about it this way. Let's say you could buy 10 gallons of gas with $20 a few years back. Today, you're lucky if you can squeeze out 5 gallons. Your $20 is still the same $20, but its purchasing power has been cut in half. It's like your money went on a diet and lost all its muscle. Now it can barely lift a gallon of milk, let alone a week's worth of groceries. This is why inflation is especially tough on people with fixed incomes, like retirees living on pensions. Their income stays the same, but the cost of everything around them keeps going up. It's like trying to run up a down escalator. You're working hard, but you're not really getting anywhere. Inflation, a global phenomenon. Think you can escape inflation by moving to a remote island and living off the land? Think again. Inflation is a global party that everyone's invited to, whether they like it or not. Sure, some countries experience higher inflation rates than others, but the general trend is the same. Prices are going up. And it's not just limited to developed nations. Developing countries often get hit even harder by inflation, as their economies are more vulnerable to external shocks. Remember that supply chain chaos we all experienced a while back? Well, that global pandemic-induced frenzy messed with the flow of goods and services worldwide, leading to shortages and, you guessed it, inflation. The good news, and yes, there's actually some good news, is that central banks around the world are constantly monitoring inflation and trying to keep it under control. Think of them as the economic referees trying to keep the game fair. They use various tools, like adjusting interest rates to influence inflation and keep it from spiraling out of control. The long game. Inflation's impact on your future. Okay, so we've established that inflation makes everything more expensive, but what does it mean for your future self? Well, imagine you're trying to save up for a down payment on a house, a comfortable retirement, or your kid's college education. You're diligently putting money aside each month, feeling good about your progress. But here's the thing. Inflation is like that annoying friend who keeps eating away at your savings without you realizing it. Let's say your goal is to save $100,000 over the next 10 years. You do the math, figure out how much to save each month, and pat yourself on the back for being so financially responsible. But what you haven't factored in is inflation. Because of inflation, that $100,000 you'll have in 10 years won't be worth as much as it is today. It might only have the purchasing power of, say, $70,000 or $80,000 in today's dollars. That means you'll need to save even more aggressively to reach your goals. It's like trying to run a marathon, but the finish line keeps moving farther away. Don't let inflation take control of your finances. Okay, so inflation is a real buzzkill. It's like that unwelcome guest who shows up unannounced and overstays their welcome, eating all your food and drinking all your beer. But don't despair. There are things you can do to fight back and protect your hard-earned cash. First and foremost, don't let your money just sit there doing nothing. Inflation loves stagnant cash because it slowly eats away at its value. Instead, consider putting your savings to work by investing in assets that have the potential to outpace inflation, like stocks, real estate, or even that stamp collection you've been neglecting. Next, create a budget and stick to it. This might sound boring, but it's one of the best ways to keep your spending in check and make sure you're not overspending in certain areas. Plus, it's incredibly satisfying to see where your money is going and identify areas where you can cut back. Finally, educate yourself. The more you understand about inflation, the better equipped you'll be to make informed financial decisions. Read books, listen to podcasts, and talk to a financial advisor. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your money. Join the conversation. Share your inflation stories. We've all been there, standing in the checkout line, staring in disbelief at the total, and wondering if we accidentally added an extra zero. So tell me, dear readers, what are your most outrageous inflation stories? What's the one item you've seen skyrocket in price that made you do a double take? Share your experiences in the comments below.